goods. Now there are different kinds of goods. Now let us understand what are the different kinds of goods. See, goods which is the subject matter of Sale of Goods Act. Okay. According to Section 6 Clause 1, it has been classified into various categories. Okay. Why the goods have been classified? What is the use of this classification? Why you need such classification? You should know that. Before reading any concept, you should put a question to yourself, why? Why? Every time you have to go on posing a question, why you need this? What was the use? Why this situation has arisen, to know this specifically. Okay. Why this classification is needed. Okay. We'll see that. What is the use of the classification of goods? Okay. It helps in determining what it has to determine. When does the property in the goods passes from the seller to buyer? You need to understand, in Sale of Goods Act, you come across this sentence everywhere, and initially if you clear this, you won't have further doubts or ambiguity as you proceed into further classes. This is the third element. This is the third in transfer of ownership. We are dealing with transfer of ownership. That is the third element in contract of sale. Okay. We come across a sentence called property in the goods passing from seller to buyer. What do you mean by property in the goods in Sale of Goods Act? Okay. They use this word everywhere. Okay. Passing of property in the goods is nothing but transfer of ownership from seller to buyer. But sometimes instead of using ownership, he will use passing of property in the goods. Every time you make note of this. Passing of property means not physically is passing or delivery of goods. It is passing of ownership, transfer of ownership. He is talking about transfer of ownership from seller to buyer, from seller to purchaser. For determining, in order to determine when this passing of property moves from seller to buyer, you need first to understand this classification. Okay, first we'll see. First, when step by step, when we classify the goods, for one particular good, when it passes, when the property in the goods passes to seller, you can make it out. Okay, first classification is existing goods and future goods. What do you mean by existing goods? Goods which are owned or possessed by the seller at the time of making contract. Goods which are owned means goods are physically present at the place of seller. That are called existing goods. Example, the seller agrees to supply sugar which is laying in his godown. Such sugar will be considered to be existing goods. This is there in your textbook itself. Okay. When he is entering into the contract, the sugar is lying in his godown. Okay. He entered into a contract. Such sugar is known as existing goods. And now you tell me, in case of existing goods, when the property passes to the property in the goods passes from buyer, from seller to buyer. Okay. In this case, since the goods are already existing at the time of contract of sale, itself, the property in the goods passes from the seller to buyer. That is known as absolute transfer. Here, such transfer is known as absolute transfer. When at the time of contract of sale, it becomes contract of sale. Such transaction is contract of sale when the property in the goods passes from seller to buyer, and that is an absolute transfer. We'll see the difference when you read this. Second classification is future goods. Second type is future goods. According to section 2 clause 6, goods which are to be manufactured or produced or acquired by the seller after making of the contract. Means they have entered into a contract, but the goods were not existing at the place of seller. He need to produce, manufacture or acquire in later in the for future period. He need to manufacture such goods. Okay, we'll take one example. A seller enters into a contract with B, who is a buyer, for supply of 100 watches. A and B, they have entered into a contract for sale and purchase of 100 watches, but they are not existing, which are yet to be manufactured in future date, which are yet to be manufactured in the future date. So what we need to determine in this concept, in this example, whether the property in the goods have passed from seller to buyer? No. The ownership is not transferred from seller to buyer. It was just such kind of agreement between seller and buyer become agreement to sell. They have entered into a contract called agreement to sell, but not contract of sale, and it depends upon such transaction is a conditional transfer, not an absolute transfer, as we read in existing goods. Okay, in existing goods they have entered into a contract of sale. Here they are entering into agreement to sale. There it is an absolute transfer, and here it is conditional transfer. Okay, because it is obvious that if the goods are future goods, okay, the buyer cannot become the owner at the time of making of the agreement. Therefore, passing of property from seller to buyer with regards to future goods will be operated as an agreement to sell the goods, but not contract of sale. Hence, it is a conditional transfer. Okay, in the above said example, the agreement entered by A and B on condition that ownership will pass from seller to buyer after 2 months after manufacturing of watches. Okay, for manufacturing of watches, seller needs 2 months time. Okay, now ownership will pass from seller to buyer after 2 months, or on receiving of a payment from buyer. When when goods are delivered at the place of buyer, and when he makes a payment, at that time the ownership is transferred from seller to buyer. Depending upon these conditions, it becomes a conditional transfer. So, initially the contract entered by A and B is an agreement for sell upon a condition. Okay, this is a classification regarding existing and future goods. Why we are making such classification? In determine whether how the ownership is being transferred. We need to determine this difference, or we need to understand which type of goods in determining whether the ownership is transferred or not. Okay, it is very essential element. Okay, next we'll see another classification of good is specific or uncertain goods. What do you mean by specific goods? It's there, you need not worry. According to section 2 clause 14 of Sale of Goods Act, specific goods means those goods which have been identified and agreed upon at the time of contracts. Guys, make sure that it is at the time of contract but not subsequently. At the time of contract, when the goods are identified and agreed upon, those become specific goods. It is nothing but an exact thing which the subject matter of contract is known to the parties. Means subject matter here are goods. That goods are known to the parties at the time of contract. Okay, I'll give you one example. The seller who has 4 different cars. Okay, a seller, he has 4 different cars, wanted to sell his black Maruti Alto car. One of his car is black Maruti Alto car, which is accepted and identified and agreed upon by the buyer at the time of contract. Then this black Maruti Alto car become a specific good because they have agreed upon, they have identified such car and they have entered into a contract. Such contract becomes specific good. Okay. Now the same. What do you mean by uncertain goods? Now coming to the next class, when you are classifying specific good versus uncertain goods, this is vice versa. Specific goods are identified, agreed upon by both the parties at the time of contract. What happens to uncertain goods? They are not identified, they are not agreed upon at the time of making of contract. Okay. See, I'll give one illustration for this. Example, for uncertain goods. Uncertain goods, they are not identified, they are not agreed by the parties. Okay, for example, A having 1000 bags of wheat in his godown sells only 100 bags to B without specifying those bags which he wants to deliver to B. It is a sale of uncertain goods. It is because he is already having 1000, but he has not specifically identified the particular 100 bags. So just he has agreed, just he has entered into a contract, but relating to uncertain goods, they have not specifically identified. Why you need, what is the relevancy when you are reading specific goods or uncertain goods? Why we need to classify such thing, goods into specific or uncertain goods? What is the relevancy? We need such classification in determining the same said thing, whether the property in the goods passes from buyer or seller, at what stage the ownership or property in the goods passing from seller to buyer. You need to determine that. It is very important. In coming classes, you will know that what is the importance of determining this transfer of ownership, which is very important. Okay, you can understand easily and you can tell this. In the case of specific goods, there is a possibility of passing of property in the goods, like property in the goods is passed to the buyer at the time of making of contract, whereas in case of uncertain goods, the property in the goods does not pass to the buyer unless and until the goods are ascertained. Unless and until the goods are ascertained. In case of unascertained goods, the property in the goods shall not pass from seller to buyer. Okay, in detail we are going to discuss this uncertain goods, how the property is being passed, what are the essential elements required there, what are the conditions, what are the exceptions. In detail we are going to see under section 18 of Sale of Goods Act in the due course of our classes. Okay, and last final element is consideration, which I'll tell in our further class. Till then, have a nice day.